designed what we're calling the Sett web portal. The web portal will be used for first-year Norwegian instruction, and it will take the place of many of the different components that we're learning or that students are using to learn Norwegian from. Before, at St. Olaf, when we used Moodle, none of the other institutions that use the textbook were able to access what we had created in Moodle. So now all the other institutions have access to all of the same materials. Additionally, there are a number of types of activities that we could not do in Moodle that we are able to do in the portal. And those activities we think will be really beneficial to language learning.
1,
1,
2,
2,
One of the other things is that the workbook we wanted to keep very inexpensive for students, and so everything was black and white. The portal, because that's not an issue, we have lots of pictures, we have lots of links for students. If you're interested in this topic, here's a resource to learn more about it. So we're really encouraging students to get out there and learn more about the topics, and that's just not something we were able to do in a print format. I worked with 2 Curie students this summer. I purposely wanted students that had different skill sets. So I sought out one student who would have a higher level of Norwegian, and I sought out one student who would have more technical experience. And it turns out it was the perfect match. They worked very well together. I think you come from it at 3 very different angles. And so I think when we met together, we were really able to come up with new ideas that weren't necessarily the idea I had, but they maybe started with my idea and then further developed after more discussion. So I think what they brought is just a different perspective to how students go about learning the materials. I didn't know how much of a commitment it would be on my end. I had kind of assumed I would work with the students maybe about 15 or 20 hours a week, and that's how it started. The first 3 weeks, I would say I spent about 15 or 20 hours a week with the students, but towards the end, I was working 40 or 50 hours a week on the project. So I think for us, the technology was the biggest obstacle in the sense that it was new for all of us. We were using new themes, we were using plugins that none of us were familiar with, and so I think knowing what to do when we ran into problems was where we needed guidance along the way. And luckily, with our project, we had the support of lots of IT staff and interns that were able to help us with that, because otherwise I don't think we would have been able to get through those obstacles ourselves. To be honest, I did not think the Summer Institute was going to be that helpful, but I think in the long run, it saved us a ton of time. I think the Summer Institute really gave us an opportunity to dive into a bunch of different things, but also have lots of time to work on specific things that we were interested in, and to have people around us that could give us feedback. I think overall, I really learned a lot. I think the students learned a lot about the profession of teaching, about developing curriculum, and I think we really created a project that will really be utilized.